dropping in the 6-speed gear set now. I'll have to line this gasket up. Okay. Lining up the gasket right at the, well, slip back out on me. There we go. Finally. A little bit of wiggle. Okay, from this side of the tranny, this first shifting fork, and I know you probably can't see it. It has to be dropped in from the other side of the tranny to get it to ride on that gear. And that's the first one that has to go in. Once you get that shifting fork in, I would go ahead and run this shaft in to hold that fork in place. Then we got another bronze shifting fork. And there's a shaft that goes right in there. And this shaft holds only this one shifting fork in place. Get it on the gear. Line it up with that shaft, push that shaft in. Then we run this in. And I'm not going to touch that just yet. Okay, so we're going to snug that. And that puts that first shifting fork in. Now this is an Ultima 6-speed. This skinny one goes in next, then that one goes in last. Now we're going to slide that shaft through just enough to hold that shifting fork in place. And finally, we've got this one. It rides over on the main shaft. This one rides the secondary shaft. And then that pops in, that pops in, and we're all together now. All the shifting forks move. You can check the Midwest catalog and it'll have a blow up of all which shifting fork goes where. It's kind of tricky on these 6-speeds because of this extra shifting fork that's on this shaft. Normally you'd have 3 shifting forks across here in a 5-speed transmission, but this has to move this to move that 6th gear around. And we're going to get some bolts and start putting that together. You remember, there was an exhaust bracket that went on the bottom of this thing. So I had to go to the other transmission, get a couple of these bolts. These are longer than the stock bolts because they go into this go through this bracket. This bracket's pretty thick. It sucks, to be honest. I'll tell you why. Right behind here is the drain for the transmission. So if you want to drain your transmission oil, you're going to have to take this exhaust bracket off. Looks like we're going to have to get longer screws for these outer ones too. Obviously, this 6-speed being thicker plate, not going to work. So we'll have to pick up a couple bolts longer than those. Now we can get ready to put the shifting drum in. We're going to drop this shifting drum in. Now this arm right here, you have to hold it up. That arm sits on top of these cogs. Get this part. Goes on the other side of the shifting drum. I'm probably going to have to finagle this a little bit. This is going to have to go end of that drum, like so. Now we got to get these shifting forks to fall into their grooves. And it's going to get tricky. Trust me. And all these grooves on this drum drop into these. The shifting forks have to fit into those, and it's going to be a kind of a wiggle fest to get those all to drop in where they're supposed to be. Well, look at there, and we're in. It's kind of a miracle in itself. Usually I gotta fight those a couple hours. Get them in just the right spot, but I guess they wiggled in. We are now going to snug these down. Oh no, I didn't just do that. Now we gotta try to get that washer out that I just dropped in there, or we're disassembling the transmission. Oh, look at there. Luckily it fell back here and not down in that transmission. That would not have been good. Now I get to try to get the shifting drum back in. Because we lucked out the first time. We won't the second. There we go. We're back in. Thank God for that. Now these grooves set those shifting forks, pull those gears in and out, pull them in and out of the cogs, so that depending on what gear you're in. What I'm gonna do now is go over here and shift it and twist the main shaft and make sure we're free. There we are. We are all the way around sixth gear, and there's 6. We're good through all the gears, so we know everything's back in place. Everything's shifting. Of course, that'll all have to be adjusted. But we got all this on. Get a wrench and tighten these down.
There's a steering guy up front.
Huh?
We'll check it out.
Mine's what?
Steering up front.
Oh, yeah, 'cause that's my fairing right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so gasket's already on. Top back on. I'm gonna leave the screws out of that just in case I need to test that some more. But we've got the shifting drum back in it, main gears are back in it, everything's back in the transmission. Tomorrow we're gonna go to the other side of the transmission. I'll show you what we're doing. This bushing right here goes on this transmission shaft right here. And that has to be pushed on up against that fifth gear seal. Inside that will be a rubber O-ring, and we'll show how all this goes together. You have to have a special tool to remove these and put them on, so I'll show you all that tomorrow.